And here we go. Got it. We are live. It is Friday, December 17th.
Wow.
Probably most of you noticed some changes in the schedule for. We are live. It is Friday. Here we go. Going back to make that silent. So some of you maybe have noticed, or all of you have noticed, this change in the schedule that John and I were kind of shifting around. And that was due to some family events that I was partaking in. So yesterday was my son's bar mitzvah. He's 13.
Oh, cool.
And that was, yeah, it was so awesome. Really, really special. I have an older daughter, so she's 14, 14 and a half really. And but this was my first, bar mitzvah. Thank you, Liana. And it was really, really special. So I just thought I would put that out there. So John helped accommodate. My family flew in from Israel, and yesterday was the actual day we drove to San Antonio, and which is like a 2-hour drive from Austin, and we spent the day there, and it was really, really special. A really big turnout for him, for his friends who are all Texans and not Jewish, and it was really, really sweet. He had about 15 friends there. And it started off with me saying, listen, this is a very intimate religious ceremony in Hebrew. And I don't know if everybody's going to be able to connect to that, especially not young 13-year-olds, where most of them were boys, even though there were a handful of girls. But I'll tell you, and we kind of only started out by inviting 4. But then people kept approaching him. His friends kept approaching him like, yes, I want to join. I want to join. I want to join. And it turned out to be 15. And mothers accommodated and drove their children 2 hours to this event so that they could attend. And I just thought it was super moving. They were all very, very respectful. Everything, for the good first hour was all in a language that nobody could understand, and all these traditions that look kind of odd, if you don't know what's going on. And so that was my week. I thought I'd share that with all of you. I got, as you can see, my hair done for the event. So lots of little things that were just super sweet. It is Fun Friday. So really excited to be here with you on a Friday. It's been a minute for me since I've been here on a Fun Friday. I'd like to first recognize all the students that are here. Alex, so great to see you. And I love that wonderful background, like we said. We have, he created his own background there with his business logo on the side, on the top left side. And it's really, really cool. Patrick is here, and Arlene. Great to see you, Arlene, and Jay.
Thank you.
Catherine is here. Hey, Catherine and Gloria. Liana, great to see you. Carol and Joe. Maybe Kelly's going to join. We don't know. That's always a surprise. Hey, Rima. Good to see you. Nice to have you here. Deborah's driving. All is good in the world. We got you on the call. Scott, how great to see you here with all of us. Sarah joined. Hi, Sarah. Great to see you. Our wonderful Elizabeth is here. Nadea, Derek, you made it. Great to see you, Derek. We missed each other on a welcome call, so great to see that you made it. Joseph is here. Sabina, Patricia's here. We got Timete, who will let me know if I'm saying that right. Thomas, Jamie, and Evelyn, and Dan, and Joan, and Nicole, and Rebecca, and more joining as we go along. So the beautiful thing about Fun Friday is that we start our conversation by just sharing and, celebrating each other. So if you have wins of the week, something that went really, really good to this week that you want to share, if you have, you want to show your pets, you want to share a joke so that we can start the weekend right and just move in with a smile, that's great. Funny hat, funny shirt. I mean, all of it goes. Alec is now right next to me. So for me, like just watching his background it brings a smile to my face with those smiley faces and thank you. And really looks cool there. Anybody have a joke for us? Scott, your picture came up. What are those rolling hills, Scott? Share with us what those rolling hills behind you are. Something special?
That's actually from a video by Joe Dispenza.
Oh, nice.
I just took a picture with my camera. It was talking about, obviously, as he does, the power of the mind and the things that you can do with and how to manipulate it and so forth. And a very interesting guy. And that's a picture I saw when I was watching. I thought, it's too good. I've got to put it on the zoo.
Yeah.
It's
I was just
lovely.
trying to decide. I'm trying to single out like a couple of books to gift for people for the holidays. And I'm trying to decide which one of his books I should gift, if it's Becoming Supernatural or one of the others there that was super impactful. I forget the name now. And it's funny that you bring him up because I was, these past couple of days, I'm looking exactly at that.
Well, I just looked at his name and it's so prolific on the internet, not just YouTube, books, and there's so much that he's produced.
So
it's
much,
amazing.
much. There's so much. I love him.
Really. I forgot to tell you when you were talking about your family, New Mexico has the cryptic Jews. Have you heard of them? No. The crypto Jews. And we found out that a lot of us have Jewish in us because they escaped. Like in the, when they came in with the Spanish, they escaped and said they were Catholics. So now we have priests that carry the cross, the Star of David and the cross.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Found out they were Jewish. So they had Jewish in them.
That's cool. So we did the, we did the ancestor DNA, you can do
pretty cool.
Where you check the DNA. So it shows you how many percent Jewish you are and where you've come from and all the line of everything. We love that kind of stuff, our family. So it was really, really interesting. My husband actually discovered his parents. One of them is Morocco, actually like the grandparents came from Morocco, not very far back or anything, like literally. And same for the mother, his grandparents born in Morocco, lived in Morocco and moved. So he would always joke, I'm half Moroccan and half Moroccan, like all completely Moroccan. And so we go and do the DNA testing and turns out he's like 60% Italian and and like 2 or 4%, I don't remember off the top of my head, Moroccan, that kind of area. It gives you the area of like Northern Africa. So I thought that was hilarious. You're so sure of something your whole life, that this is, but then you go and get this DNA test and suddenly things show up completely different. So. Really,
I have a whole
surprising. It's always surprising how people get those sort of DNA tests and then think that somehow that defines their identity, who and what they are. And it's just not the case. It's just not the case.
Nope.
Of course.
It's of interest.
I was actually...
But that, like a novelty, but that's about it, really. It doesn't define you.
Of course. I was actually in my speech to my son yesterday. I was talking about how inside his DNA, he has all of the knowledge of his ancestors and all of the knowledge from the universe. That really the science only defines 0.1% or not even as writing your proteins. And that's basically what we kind of address. But there's that 99.99% that when I was still in school was considered junk DNA, which really contains so much knowledge and wisdom from the universe. And I think that's mind-blowing because that just shows you.
Really mind-blowing.
Yeah. Because that just shows you that, there is so much more to you than just the physical, the physical, the arms, the hands. Actually, that's leading me into my topic, which I'm trying to stay away from. So if there are any things you want to share with us, a joke, someone can pull out a joke off the internet. I didn't do that. But if anybody wants to tell a joke before we get started, it would be good. Or we're gonna start talking. Let's see.
One very, very corny dad joke, and you probably heard it before. What did the barman say to the horse when he came into the bar?
What?
Why the long face? Couldn't resist. Someone had to do it.
Very good. Very good. I like it. I like dad jokes. They're wonderful. All right. Anybody else want to share a pet or a fun story or success, something that you sold, something that worked well, something that is moving along, anything you'd like to be celebrated with here? Before we get started, let's see, any hands up, any takers want to share some good things? Alec, maybe. I see him moving, shifting in his chair, getting ready to share. Yes. Okay. Joan beat you to the button. Joan, please share with us.
I don't know if any of you saw this about this joke about on autocorrect. Said the inventor of autocorrect died, and said his funnel will be tomato.
His photo will be tomato.
Funnel like funnel cloud will be tomato.
Okay. Autocorrect is sometimes my goodness, right? Like we all get those autocorrects that just go like, what? No, I didn't type that. I promise I didn't. But
What's crazy is when I type something in and I correct it and it keeps changing it back to the very
Yes,
same
that one
thing.
is a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to press on it. You're like, no, I really mean it. Especially for me, when I'm writing things in Hebrew English.
Wow.
I don't know how you
That's
make
cool.
that together. It's like, no, I really mean this. I really want to write this out. Thank you, Joan. I appreciate that. Alec. Oh, you got that dog. I saw him come in. Yes. Is it? No, is that what you got for us? We can't see him. We can't see him.
I brought Riley. I keep trying to, it's because she's been trying to go to bed all day. So she's in and out. Come here, little girl.
There we go.
Yeah, so this is Riley. I like to call her little girl because she's the biggest dog.
So cute.
So that's just what I call her.
What kind of dog is she? I can only see the face. It looks like a...
Stop. Come here.
No.
Come here.
She's
Like a German Shepherd mix kind of, but I'm not sure.
No, she's actually a full-bred German Shepherd.
Oh, so I couldn't tell if she is because I can't see her body, so I can only see the face. So she is a German Shepherd.
Yeah, she's a full breed, which even I wasn't sure because she is a lot smaller than one of my uncle's dogs who has a German Shepherd. And she was a lot smaller than his dog. I looked at his and it was a monster. So I doubted her being purebred, but no, we've had her checked out. She is.
She is. Oh,
yeah. Her is pretty ginormous. Okay.
That's awesome. My mother used to have German Shepherds when she was little, but it's funny that you say you have her checked out because we have an Australian Shepherd who, my husband is always really like, she's a purebred. She's a purebred. She is smaller. She is smaller. So I always joke about, when we get into these things with her, I always joke about, she's a mix. She's a mix. He's like, I'm going to prove it to you. And when we did,
I used to have an Australian Shepherd.
She is what? You used to have one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like them.
They're intense. They are intense dogs, but she's awesome. I mean, she's exactly when we adopted her, I wanted a dog that always wanted to be outdoors so that we would spend way more time outdoors. And so she forces us, she really does, because she needs to be, running around, gathering the herd, getting everybody in order. At the time, the guy had said on the phone, she'll herd your children, they said. And I thought that was super cute. She'll herd your children. That's cool. Round them up. You want to gather them before that's so. But do you know how they herd the cattle? You probably know, Alec, because you experienced it. So they herd cattle by nipping at their heels. That's how they get the cattle to move where they want them to go. And so for the longest time, when my children were little and they would have friends over, this dog would run around and herd the children, literally nip at their heels to get them in order. So if a child, let's say a neighbor's kid, is running up the stairs up, the dog doesn't have it because you can't be separating, the herd. So that was an experience.
Wow.
She's gotten better. I know. Now you know, Scott, if you're ever offered an Australian Shepherd, and they say that's what it means.
That's interesting.
All right. So any other takers for a joke or for a fun story or something awesome that happened to you? Okay. Words, puns and wordplay, Facebook group, good laugh site, good idea site too. Okay. I don't know.
I just wanted to let you guys know that I got a welcome letter from Amazon.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a late starter, but I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. Super exciting, Arlene. That's a fabulous share. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for speaking up. All right. So with no further ado, I'm going to mute you all now. And if you know the drill, if you ever want to speak up, you just raise your hand and we will, I'm happy to hear from you. If anyone is like really brand new, I just want you to know that these are our daily success calls. And if you're listening on YouTube, we meet up every day, Monday through Friday at this exact time, 15 minutes prior, and we discuss different topics to create the right mindset for us, for our business. And this really has become our extended family. You know, it's a safe space to share. We all help each other along, and we're rooting for each other. And so that's, you know, the beautiful thing. Always, I want you to know that even if you share the smallest thing that you might think is just not important or trivial, or, you know, it doesn't matter much, it can reshape someone else's life, and it can really help them along. And then we carry each other. We carry these, whatever you say, you know, with us for the rest of the day. I know I've spoken personally with so many of you, and I carry you all in my heart. You know, it's like we've made this bond, we've made this connection, and it really helps us through our life, helps us navigate our lives. So thank you all for all of your shares, of course. So now we'll get to our topic today. And so, you know, I shared that I was driving to San Antonio, a 2-hour drive, and I decided to put on this. I got some invite in my email, and and it was like, you know, you get to watch this for free for 24 hours thing. And I was like, all right, it's this course by Deepak Chopra. And I love him, you know, he's really, really great. And I've listened to him countless times before. And so I was listening, and he talks about all these things, but then one thing really popped out and stuck with me. And he said, you know, the universe is a verb and not a noun. Now, this is not accredited to Deepak Chopra, of course. This is also Buckminster Fuller said this, who is another one of the philosophers that I admire and I love. I speak about him often. And but just to, you know, this is what sparked my listening ears, because and let me come again. The universe is a verb and not a noun. And so, you know, as most of you know, I also teach. And so when I'm teaching or training teachers to teach, then we talk about how we speak. And it's always about using more verbs, action verbs versus nouns and passive things, or ing verbs, or, you know, or like thinking, speaking, stepping. It's more direct. So you have a more direct speech where it is verbs and you're asking people to do things. You know, you're giving specific requests, and this is what you do, and here's what you do. And so it's a very interesting way of thinking and speaking, and then also training and teaching. So when I heard that, as my teacher ears, my listening ears, it just popped out to me. And I was like, wow, that is such a profound idea that I want to continue to explore. And so as you go deeper into this idea, you know, it takes us into this this concept that nouns are really conventions of language. Okay, they're not descriptions of reality. So a language, you know, you're putting a language together, and now you need to describe things. You need to have different words in different places in a sentence to express yourself clearly, so that everyone can understand. And we know that there are many languages out there, and each language is structured a little bit different. If any of you have ever learned another language, then you'll know this. You know, different languages are structured differently. Coming back to my my event yesterday, my bar mitzvah, with all these young teens that were there, and they were handed the prayer books. And they opened them like an English book, you know, but actually, so then the rabbi's wife was like, oh, just so you know, the books open from the back. So I just, you know, I was thinking about that as I was speaking. So, you know, languages have different structures, and that's fine. But for us as thinkers, as adults, to really understand that reality is a verb and not a noun. So that means that it's an activity. It's a process. Okay, let's break that down a little bit more and understand it. Your body is a verb. Okay, it's a process. There are activities that are happening all the time, right? We eat, or we breathe, we digest, you know, we eliminate. There are thoughts, there are feelings, there are memories, there are intentions. You have emotions like compassion, love, all of these things that are continuously happening in your body. So, you know, it's not just a thing. Okay. And even if let's understand that a little bit deeper, and I'll break that down even more. You know, if we think about our body like this flowing river, okay, we can address a river as a thing, but think about it, you know, it's never the same. There's never the same water in the same space. You know, if you're standing on the edge of a river and you're looking into the river, you are seeing constant activity. There's never going to be that same drop of water that you just looked at. It's not going to be there, not even a second after. It's flowing down the river. And so even speaking or speaking is one thing, but thinking of a river as a noun, it really is a process. So, let's take that into other things to understand it better, like a tree. Okay. A tree is also an activity. It's a process. So you have the activity of sunlight, you have the activity of the earth, the water, the air, the ecosystem, the flora and the fauna, the animals that are around, everything that's going on is what makes up this tree that you are now looking at. And so the tree is also similar to our body. So how many things are happening in our body right now? It's constantly changing and constantly evolving. And that's just like the universe. So the universe is constantly evolving, and it's constantly looking for new expressions. And that is a verb. That is something that is happening now as we sit here, really, right now. And so if we think about it, so what do we consider things? We consider things even sometimes and this is interesting because this came up in my children's school a while back as well, in elementary, where they teach that rocks are things, water are things, not alive, and chairs, tables, we can kind of take that into everything, the TV, the bed. But really, all of those are made out of atoms, and atoms are not things. Atoms are activities of particles. And even particles are activities of waves. Everything just moves in waves in the universe. And so ultimately, everything around you is an activity. It's all a verb. It's not a noun. And my children even got into a little bit of trouble, as I was teaching them through elementary. And I told them that water is alive, and there's nothing that is considered. They have a way of when they're putting things into categories and defining things, that it's not dead, but you know what I mean. Like there are things that are not alive and things that are alive. And I had taught my children that water is alive. And they put that on a test. And of course, the teacher kind of mocked them off. And I had a whole discussion with teachers about that, and teachers that think similarly to me. And their answer to that was, okay, this is what we are asked. This is what, the school system is asking us to teach. And this is what we need to understand and write up. However, we understand that we are more evolved than that. And that's interesting to tell, second graders, third graders, that what we are teaching them is not exactly the truth, right? So we can take that now back into our understanding that, okay, we were taught a language, and in our language we use these names as nouns, as things. However, if we can now ask ourselves as grown adults to see everything in the world as a process, as a verb, as an activity. And when you take that into your business, I feel like that is super encouraging and motivating, because to understand that we're in the process of things all the time, that we are currently evolving and growing. That's why people homeschool. I just saw that. And so, right. But okay, we're not going to get into the school system. So if we take that into our business, right, that'd be a whole different conversation, maybe for another fun Friday. If we take this into our business and understand that we are in the process of establishing this business, and we are constantly evolving and growing and moving towards, this goal, and that our business is this living entity, this thing that we are creating that is in the process of growing. I mean, that's exciting. That means that it's not just this square, this computer that is a stationary thing, that is just an object. We're actually part of this process of evolution and of growing. I feel like that's super exciting and motivating and really encouraging, because and we can break that down just a little bit. And of course, I want to hear from you. Oftentimes we get caught up in the, holding on to things, holding on to notions, holding on to constructs and things, and in the way that we feel like things should be. But when we're able to understand that we really can't hold on to anything, because if everything is in movement, is in process, you can't really grasp it, right? You can't hold on to running. You can't hold on to a process, an activity, something that is occurring right now. You can't hold it. You can't, just, hold it. You can't freeze it in a moment. You can take a snapshot of a moment in time. Okay. So if you take a picture of me, that would be a picture of me in a moment, but it's not me, right? The picture is not me. It doesn't represent who I am and everything that I'm bringing. It's just a snapshot of time, of a moment. And you can look at it and you can say, oh, okay, this was a fond memory of this time and that time. And, you can look at age, you can look at how we change and how we evolve through the years from being a child to a teenager to today, right? We're always evolving and changing. And so understanding that if we cannot hold on to anything, if we cannot just, grasp it and hold it and anchor it and that's it, it's done, then it actually is freeing, right? It's in that way, it's freeing, it's liberating that, we don't have to hold on to things that happened in the past or things that don't serve us or things that didn't go exactly the way we wanted them. Oh, I see Arlene's cat. Nice. You can share her with us if you'd like after. And so, just understanding that we can let go, right? Oftentimes we can hold on to these grudges or ideas or things that happen to us. Doesn't have to be negative. Could be positive. We're just holding on to a notion about ourselves. Oh, that's a good one, right? We're holding on to this notion about ourselves that we are this person, we are that person, and this is how it is. And this is how I've always stood up. And this is how I've always sat down. This is how I've always walked and always cooked. Well, if we are part of a process and we are part of this, we are an ongoing verb and evolving and moving and, really with us, the whole universe, then that's so liberating and freeing. It connects us to this bigger picture, in my mind, at least. It connects us to this bigger picture, this grand scheme of things that is constantly growing, constantly evolving. And, from this idea of how much our body changes, how much we, even daily, okay, it doesn't have to be, just thinking child, teenager, adult. We can go daily, our organs, our whole body changes within a year. We can regrow a liver, we can regrow bones, just by all of everything that's happening, all of the chemical, not just chemical, but everything that's happening in our body at once. We can change, we can completely regrow, restructure our whole body. We do. It's not we do all the time, right now. I feel like that idea is so liberating. It's so freeing from these constructs, from these concepts that we hold on to. And a noun is such a definite kind of thing. This is a tree. This is Karen. Hi, this is a table. This is a chair. Okay, 1 second. If this is actually a process, we are on this journey, we're on this process to really evolve as much as we can and grow. So now really reeling that back into our business for a moment and understanding, like some of you have just begun this process of this e-commerce business. Some of you have been here for a while and some of you are experiencing different things as you move along. And so to understand that this is all part of this process and that you are constantly growing and evolving, I think is profound, that you are this verb, you are this activity, this process in motion, in movement as you continue to grow the business. And so, this snapshot in time where, Arlene got approved by Amazon and she got this letter from Amazon. This is how it links directly to what you were saying, Scott, with the DNA that doesn't define us, right? It doesn't define us. You can't hold on to this thing that now says that we are X, Y, and Z. So the snapshot now, Arlene, is saying, Amazon saying, yes, you're on board. It's an amazing thing. And that just means that it's part of this process, because in 2 weeks, Arlene is going to say, I've uploaded, I'm going big here. I uploaded 100 products to my Amazon store, right? I've already got it done. And now I've landed my first couple of sales, and I'm in this growth process. I'm continuously growing and evolving. And I think that idea is very, very exciting. Just that, liberation from a verb from a noun into a verb, to understand that matter itself is happening. It's not just something solid and just solid and not evolving, not growing, just dormant almost. It's actually, particles moving. There is that frequency in it. There is vibration. There is energy to everything. And that's constantly in motion and growing. I think that, in my opinion, at least, it's very exciting. And then just to hear that idea, I thought it was something that would be exciting to lead into this weekend with that thought in our mind. To be able to look at things, to say, okay, language is one thing. This is how we communicate, and you're understanding me, and I need these words in order to speak. I need to be able to, to organize these words into a sentence that makes sense. Because if I wouldn't, I would sound, maybe like a little child who can't speak, or maybe like a person learning this new language, and it wouldn't come across so clear. So I'm enjoying this construct of language in order to express myself in a clear way that everyone can understand. However, in my mind, in my understanding, I am free and liberated to see things and see these, a tree, myself, my business, my computer, my everything that I'm doing here as a verb and not a noun. I think that is super exciting, and I'm really excited to hear what all of you have to say about that. And again, I will say, maybe you don't agree with me, and that's fine. Maybe you like, no, I was taught, and these are nouns, and that's how we see it, and that's what we want to, how we are going to teach our children and move forward with this. So I would love to hear all of the ideas on that. Anything that you'd like to share? Who would like to be the brave first? Let's see. Scott, wonderful. Glad to hear from you. I saw you taking notes. I was like, oh, he's got some things to share with us, which is super exciting. Yay.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that I think nouns have their place, but I think it's significant that you appreciate that the universe is fundamentally not static. It's constantly in motion. And I think humans, anthropologically, were always creatures of action. If you stand still in nature, you basically die. Yes. So our whole brain is geared towards activity. Yeah. And I think in terms of defining ourselves, for example, we can define ourselves as what we are, but I think a more significant thing is to define ourselves by what we do, in the sense that you can define yourself as a person who has dreams of doing such and such, a dream of doing such and such. But if you define yourself as a person who dreams of doing it, in the sense of you are engaging in that activity in your mind, then that's a far more powerful dream. That's a far more precise way of seeing yourself, in the sense that you dream of doing, but you don't dream of being, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Yeah.
You can be the example I thought of was that you can see yourself as a person who is a success. That is the noun. I am a person, a success. Or you can see yourself as a person who's changing the lives of those around them and doing what you love to do every day. And that is how you define your success in terms of an action.
Yes.
I think if that's the way you define your goals, not as an end result, but as the end result represented in an action or by actions, that becomes much more real to the human mind. You can actually engage and lose yourself in that dream. Whereas if you can't really lose yourself in a noun, but you can lose yourself in an activity. Right, I think that perspective of not being static, I think, is very significant. I think that gives a lot to the way we can process and identify goals and live them in our minds, I think.
I love it. Yeah. Stagnation is a real thing in Chinese medicine. You can have this stagnation or stuck chi or stuck energy because it's just, not moving. And then literally, that's how you lead to death. And I think that you bringing that up and just sharing that with us and showing that, we are energy in motion, we need to constantly be moving, evolving, doing. And then I love how you gave that perspective on, yeah, of course, nouns have their place. Like I said, and I like how you presented it a little bit, in a different perspective, which was great because we need those nouns in order to define and in order to speak and in order to express, but to then understand that is this process of doing, because, you use this idea of who are we, right? Because, we're ultimately this field of possibilities, endless possibilities that is just manifesting all of these activities. We're really in this place where we can, and when we see it as a verb, that's when we're holding the wheel, because we're in this engagement within this activity. If somebody tells you, okay, let's go and ride a bicycles around, then you are riding a bicycle. It's very defined, and you can see it and you feel it and you're in it. But like you said, when you're in this dream state of like dreaming things up, it's easy to get lost. Okay, so what are we doing? Oh, we're creating our reality, or what are we manifesting, or what am I asking to bring to my reality? But if we can see that as a definite activity, just like that, riding a bicycle, just like that, fully engaged action, that really, I think that's empowering in my eyes. So
I think it's the idea that if a little boy dreams of getting a bike, he doesn't dream of having a bike. He dreams of riding the bike.
Yes.
Totally different thing.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
He's himself in the activity.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people, when they talk about manifestation, see yourself. What are you spending it on? Like, where are you going? What is your, where are you vacationing? Which house are you living in? It's not just about the money, $1 million in the bank, but actually what you're doing with it. Right. So even Think and Grow Rich, all those books that we recommend, what exactly are you going to do with these monies? Define it and say it and speak it out loud, speak it into being. And then, what are you willing to do in return for those monies? What exactly is it that you are now willing to exchange in order to receive? So yes, that's beautiful, beautiful example. Thank you.
Sorry, Karen, if I can just mention one thing. I think it defines, it is the definitive answer to the why, because they say, unless you have a why, you can't do it. There's no point. But I think it defines the why, because the why is never to be at a place. The why is always what you are doing in that place. And that, I think, really answers the question of why, which comes to the core of why we do anything, because we want to be doing something, not being something.
Exactly. Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Scott. I love our exchanges. They're wonderful. Alec, I'm excited to hear from you. Let's hear it. Excited to hear.
No, I just, I'm listening to what you're saying, what Scott is saying. Of course, both of y'all always have something very fantastic to say, because they're two different ways of thinking. They're two different perspectives. But I did notice that how y'all were talking about staying, about static, and just really getting stuck in a state where I don't really recall exactly how y'all phrased it.
It's okay.
See, earlier this week, I went through a lot of other stuff, but nothing like really bad or anything like that. It was just I had a lot of other stuff to deal with. So I really all kind of almost felt like I wasn't really giving enough effort into the company. I kind of just really felt like, you know what, I was supposed to do this yesterday. I didn't. Of course I had, because Sundays I have the tendency to batch in. So I can just throw out the week little by little, like, hey, I already did that. Like, okay, but still, I felt as if I hadn't done the things that I wanted to do. And I think it's funny because how y'all were talking about nothing really is static, because I have all this stuff that I feel is holding me, not so much holding me, just more like slowing me down. That's the way I feel. Well, that's the way I felt. And as I got to thinking about it, of course, yesterday, it's not so much that I hadn't been doing anything. I had actually been doing a lot of stuff that I was always procrastinating on. Like, oh, don't worry, that can wait till later. And that's what I was doing. And now it's just like everything is jumbling in. So now it's a unique feeling. I'm not going to say it's a bad feeling, but it is a unique feeling. And I do like how y'all were saying that nothing ever stands still. So that gets me to start thinking, was I really standing still?
No, you were not.
I mean, I might not have been doing what I wanted to do,
right.
But was I really not doing anything that already had been needed to be worked on for a very long time, and yet somehow I kept procrastinating on it? And I'm pretty sure it seemed to me for days that I wasn't doing anything. And then I just thought about it one day, and have I really not been doing anything?
Nothing. If you're asking me, are you asking?
No, I'm okay. It's a rhetorical question towards myself. Yes. Yeah.
Listening to you, it does not sound like you were, and you can answer to this, it does not sound like you were not doing anything. It sounds like you were doing a lot. I think when we talk about stagnation or not moving, we're literally talking about not moving. There's no, you're sitting down or not moving or not functioning in any way, that kind of thing. It sounds to me like you were making all these things happen around you. Maybe your focus was not on the one thing that you're here to do, but in turn, all of that leads to growth together. It's never just one component. If that answers your questions, you can tell me what you think about that.
Well, actually, I mean, okay, so you are right. I was actually doing very much. And it took me days to actually realize that just in myself. That's why I stayed there asking myself questions like, have you really not been doing anything?
Yeah.
Because so far, you've talked to this person, you've talked to that person, you've talked to that person. Now, not always did everything go your way, but it got done.
Right. Nice.
And yeah, I just thank you. And I just wanted to go ahead and just kind of express that with everybody. I mean, just kind of let everybody know that everything, in my opinion, everything bad is always as bad as it might seem. I don't know exactly how else to say that, but I mean, everything bad is as it might seem. And what I mean by that is that, okay, so I was going after one thing. Of course, something good would be an amazing outcome. Now, I didn't get the amazing outcome. However, did I go after it? Yes, I did. So as far as I'm concerned, I won. So it's like, okay, you know what? I got what I wanted. I went out and I at least tried to do it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We can't always handpick the outcome. We can't always handpick, we can't handpick the outcome that is going to happen, but being engaged, being that verb of going out and doing it, taking the action, calling the person, whatever you shared, that is a celebration right there. Just like Arlene with her Amazon approval, that is a celebration. That is that step to get into those sales, to see the riches, the monies and everything come into the account. It starts with those steps and those actions that you've been taking. So yeah, really, really good. And I'm really happy you're stopping to ask yourself. Isn't that fun?
It can be, yeah.
Great. Shows you your patterns, shows you, how you're now reshaping. And okay, 1 second, maybe I don't need to talk down to myself and bum myself out that this and this and this didn't happen. Wait, now I have a different way of viewing it. And I'm on this staircase and I'm climbing one stair at a time. So, this is great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alec. Deborah. Drive safe, all right? Don't look towards the camera while you're.
One day, and I'm not driving. I'm sitting
Okay.
where I want to go in. One day, I will tell you all why you catch me in the car so much. But I'm just listening to everyone. And Scott, if you continue talking, you know, she's gonna get fired. My God, you just put up so much good things here. But self-talk. I'm finding self-talk can be good and it can be not so good. And if I know I have a personality that has self-talk, I'm going to have to train myself to look at plan A and plan B. And just like Alex said, it didn't happen like it's supposed to, so he went back and it happened. So you go from plan A to plan B and not to worry about what was holding you back or keeping you from, or even it was yourself. I think the last thing, I see a lot of pet lovers here. And my dog, I lost my dog right at COVID, right time. She was 16 years old. But I learned a lot from this dog. And there's a book out that said I learned most of my life, and it's from my dog. I know when I'm stagnant, when I was stagnant, or I was giving myself not the best of self-talk, my dog was, she was persistent. She'd come to the bed in the morning and put her head on the bed, and I say, "What you want?" She said, you know what I want. You need to get up." And so I said, "But I don't want to get, you got to get up because you got to let me out." So, okay. So, and I would do this behavior every morning, even though I didn't want to do it, but she trained me to be persistent. Go for what you want. And she put her head there. "No, you got to move." And if I was upset or sad, she'll come and like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Well, I'm not feeling well." And she says, "Okay, we'll sit here a while, but you got to come out of it." You know, and in order to play with me and take me to the park, you got to come out of it. So I learned that. And I think we had to step back again and look at what we're doing. And we can have the action words, we can have the nouns and everything else, but in reality, a lot of it's talking to yourself. And are you giving yourself the best talk? And so that's all I wanted to say. It was just wonderful. You put out a lot of wonderful analogies there, and I'm happy to hear Alex is doing much better than the young lady that had the Amazon. I really cheered. You may not hear me, but I was cheering for her.
Yes. Wonderful, wonderful, Deborah. We're always happy to hear from you. And I love the story with the dog. Isn't it awesome? What was it?
The dogs, your pets, your cats, they'll come get you.
Yeah.
Why?
And look at how you were able to observe that, and your repetitive action and reaction, and what it kind of repeated itself every morning. And it's through that, your dog is giving you unconditional love and just kind of coming at you and showing you, and it's like this beautiful light shining in your face, showing you, all right, here's
all right,
I still love you.
I love you, but you got to get up.
Let's get at it. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's get this day. And what we can take from that, especially since you shared that your dog has passed and all that. Yeah. That it's always the right time. It's always the right time. Today, right now is always the right time. It wasn't, I should have started this business a year ago, or I should have, all those kind of notions. No, it's today. It's right now. Right now is the exact right time. It's the divine timing of all of it. And if we can kind of give ourselves that credit and not do that narrative of, and this again and that again and that, then we're actually helping ourselves out. And sometimes we need that push in the back from our loved ones. In your case, that dog, could be any other. To just kind of keep climbing, going up, because we know we can go down that staircase, right? We can turn around and start going down. That is a thing. So we need to remember that the direction is forward and up, that's the direction that we're going to, and that's where we're headed. And we just keep on keeping on, even if it's that phone call to begin with, Alec, and it's just the one video, and it's just uploading one mug, or integrating, or getting the yes from Amazon, or whatever it is, that one thing. We are continuously climbing that staircase, which is also a verb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Deborah.
You're
Derek,
welcome.
great to see you. You made it. Let's see. You have to unmute yourself, Derek. Here, I'm going to ask to unmute you. Did you see that come up for you on your screen? There you go.
Yes, I'm here now.
Great.
I'm a little bit frustrated at the moment. I'm not actually getting anywhere. I've been with the system for over a week now. I've not even spoken to my AR.
Oh, okay.
Why is that? All I've had is emails.
That would be an action that needs to be taken. I remember
emails from them. And I can't ask any questions.
Okay, let me reach out to your AR, no problem, and I'll make sure that they connect with you.
My ER is V.
V, okay, yes, I'll let her know to contact you.
What is V for? I don't know what V is.
Verleth. Her name is Verleth. Verleth. Verleth.
Verleth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm at the moment I'm busying myself putting stuff together to actually get a shop set up. But
right.
I don't know which way to go and at what rate and at what pace.
All right. Well, those,
I thought I had to join Gear Bubble, and I read it today on something today. You don't have to join Gear Bubble because it's integrated.
Mm-hmm. There is integration with Gear Bubble. Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, so these calls, the daily success calls, we talk about mindfulness and different topics like that. It's not the how-to calls.
But I haven't had a chance to talk about it yet.
However, if I don't know if anybody's staying after, you can put that in the chat. If anybody is coming on to offer some support. So sometimes the community will come on after these calls and help each other out. I don't see the other Scott here, and I don't see some other known helpers here. So I don't know if it is going to happen, but if not today, then Monday. You also have Friday is Adam's call. So if you can hop on Adam's call, you can ask how-to questions. Also, I'm not sure about exactly what time zone you are, but Elizabeth can put that in the chat here. And you also have the Facebook group. And then you also can email, like you said, you can email and ask questions. So just take your time. It takes a moment, just like we talked about climbing that staircase. It takes some time to get used to everything, new technology, and just getting all the things done. So
I've got new technology. I've been online for the last 20 years.
Okay. Right. New technology as far as Gear Bubble, and the integration.
Well, I've been messing around with it for the last 2 months.
Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, these would be questions.
Since I've joined, I want to be able to get moving. I can't. I don't know.
So let's hop on to Adam's call today on, if anybody wants to put the link there. Elizabeth, I don't know if you're listening. If not, you do have it in your inbox. Those are always sent to the students. How to connect on Adam's calls. Yeah, I don't have the link handy, so I would be.
I have it in my inbox.
Yeah, it should be in your inbox, and we are over the time that we usually spend together on Fridays, so we are going to close it off.
I find it in my inbox.
You have to look at some emails that you got from Verleth and see the link to, just like you got onto this call, you have a link to Adam's call. You also have it should also be in the low-hanging system, all of that information, how to join Adam's coaching calls. You have that on the onboarding call.
I've seen that, yes.
So if you go and you look there, I don't have it handy, so I'm not going to start looking for it and trying to post it.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Derek, if you sign back on, we'll get it for you and we'll get you onto Adams. You just sign back on. Okay, Derek.
Fabulous.
What do you mean sign back on?
So did you hear that? So all you have to do is now I'm going to end this meeting and wish everyone a wonderful weekend. And then you would come on to the exact same link, the same link that you're on now. You would come back onto it, and then they're going to have all of that information available for you there. All right.
So somebody's going to send me the code.
Yep.
Yes.
You're going to come on back into the. Yeah. Did you want to say something?
This week is the first time I've used Zoom as well.
All right. So there's your new technology, Zoom. There you go.
I used to use Skype all the time.
We'll see you in a little bit. Okay, Derek, just come back on.
All right. Elizabeth.
Thank you all. Thank you all for joining. Great to be here with all of you. Have a wonderful weekend. I wish you all a fabulous weekend. We'll see you here on Monday with John Lavinia, the fabulous, and I will be back on our normal schedule Tuesday and Thursday. You shall see me. Till then, I bid you farewell and have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.